the rules before, right? So let's keep it very simple. How do you do this? Let's say someone says, I like those 7 rules, but how do I really implement it? Well, there's only 3 things you can do with your money at retirement. 1, you can keep it liquid. Low risk, low volatility, lump sum access, but you know you're going to get a low return, right? And low income. CDs, bank savings, money markets, T-bills. So people say, well, I don't like the low return. Well, we're not putting the money into this bucket. This is bucket number 1 of our 3-bucket approach. We're not putting money here for rate of return. We're putting it there for safety, liquidity, and no fees. Okay? That's why we're putting it there. Why do you think advisors don't like to tell you to put money in the bank? Because they don't get paid to tell you to do it. We're fiduciaries. We're going to tell you to do what's best for you, and you need to have liquid money, and you need to have money in the bank. I have clients all the time. Jim has clients all the time. They come up with $3 million, and they have $5,000 sitting in the bank. Does that make any sense at all? No, but that's how their advisor has positioned them. We said, that's not what we're going to do. We will not design a plan like that. Why do I want you to have money in the bank? Why does Jim, my partner, want you to have money in the bank? It's not for emergencies. It's for what reason? So you can spend it. Do you feel better spending money in the bank, or are you more willing to spend money in the stock market? In the bank. Because the stock market goes like this. Does the stock, when you get your statements and the stock market goes up and down, does that money actually even feel like it's your money? It doesn't. To none of you. It does not feel like it's your money. It feels like it's this thing that goes up and down and you have no access, and it does not feel real to you. We need to get money in the bank so you feel like you can spend it, and now you don't worry or have regrets. Second thing then, if you don't have money in the bank, people always have their money in growth assets. So a lot of your brokers will say, you can't have money in the bank, it's bad, put it all in the stock market because we need to get a good return on all your money. Does that make any sense at all, that you have to get a good return on all your money? No. It might sound okay, but has it ever really worked that way? No. Because they forget to tell you there's potential high volatility and there's potential for partial or full principal loss. Stock market, mutual funds, variable annuities, real estate, businesses, precious metals, oil and gas. This isn't saying this is bad. It's explaining how it works. Because you need to have money in all these buckets. Okay? Now the 3rd bucket in the middle, guaranteed lifetime income bucket, where your principal is protected against all stock market losses. You have growth opportunities, but we never suffer a loss. And more importantly, it gives us income guaranteed for as long as you live, whether you're single or married. Now, in that particular plan, it's a low fee, no load, fixed index annuity with an income rider. So if you had all these 3 buckets, if you put money in the bank, do you expect the bank money to grow at very, very high rates of return? But it better not ever lose any money, and it better be accessible. If we put money in the green bucket, we don't think it's going to get stock market rates of return or be liquid, but it better give us the highest rate of income we can get, never run out, and never lose money in the stock market. If we put money in your red bucket, do you expect that to be completely safe from principal losses? No, there's going to be some risk there. For what purpose? To potentially get you a higher rate of return. But at least now you have a plan based on why you're investing the money in each bucket. So now remember that beautiful portfolio that we drew before for you? These 3 colors would be the actual beautiful portfolio, because you've been told, why do you have 30 different mutual funds? It's for diversification. Well, I'll ask you this. Last quarter of 2018, how diversified was your portfolio? Did you not lose any money at all? Well, that means you're not diversified, because your assets have to act opposite of each other. Do any of these assets act the same? They don't. That's the only way you get diversification. You have to make sure your assets are acting different. And everyone looks at it, they go, okay, I get it. You put 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. No, I just made it to look pretty. I wanted you to have a pretty portfolio, okay? Depending on if you have a pension, you might not have much here. If you don't have a pension, we're going to have a lot more here than 1/3. You might have less than 1/3 of your assets in the bank. You might have more than 1/3 of your assets in the growth assets. That's okay, depending on what your goals are. Each client's portfolio looks different at the end of us custom designing it, okay? So how does it really work? Well, when you were working and saving for retirement, your number 1 goal, wasn't it to grow your assets? Didn't you want it to grow as much as you could? That's called stage 1, which is asset accumulation. You're willing to take risk. You have enough time to wait in case we have a market decline. You don't need income off of it. And what are you continuing to do? Aren't you continuing to save money all along? Right? That's called asset accumulation, stage 1. Once you get 5 years or closer to retirement, 5 years or in retirement, you need to make sure you transition out of stage 1 into stage 2, which is called asset preservation and income distribution mode. Completely opposite ways. So now, instead of worrying about growth first during retirement, what's the number 1 thing you have to worry about? Income, liquidity, and then 3rd is growth. So a lot of people say, oh my gosh, that means I'm old. I can't worry about growth first. It's not about that. It's how do you position your assets to give you the most success at this point in your life. Okay? Income first, liquidity second, growth. Has anyone ever told you that before? No, they just don't tell you the truth. That's bottom line, income, liquidity, growth. So how do we do it? If we use the first category, we use contractually guaranteed insurance products, fixed indexed annuities with income riders. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, whoo, Dan said the bad A word, the annuity word. That's true if I'm talking about a variable annuity. I'm not. I'm talking about a low fee, no load fixed indexed annuity with an income rider that basically protects 100% of your assets against all stock market losses. In 2008, when the market fell 50%, you would have lost zero. It gives you income guaranteed for as long as you live, regardless of stock market losses. Even if your account value goes down to zero because you live so long, they continue to pay you income for as long as you live. If you're married, for as long as you both live. The indexing concept allows us to capture annual gains. So what happened in 2017 when you made a lot of money because the market went up? And then in 2018, the market went down. Did you keep all your gains? No, you lost them. How would you like to keep all the gains and you never retract? Potential income increases in the future. And what if the total fees here are actually about 1% completely disclosed in writing? Would that be a low fee or a high fee? Extremely low, lower than what you're paying right now. Doesn't matter what you have your money invested in. So we don't put all the money there. We only put what you need here to create the income you need. Then why do you need money in the bank? It's to spend it. Bank, CDs, money markets, and T-bills. So let's look at an example. Let's say you got to buy a $50,000 car 2 years from now. And you say you don't want to put your money in the bank because you think you're going to make a lot of money in the market. Literally, people think this. And we say, let's put it in the bank so you have it available so you can just pay for the $50,000 car. And instead of the market going up, the market crashes 50%, and you still have to buy that car 2 years from now. How much does the car cost you? $100,000. Okay? What if now, and you still got to buy the car. What if now you want to do a $100,000 remodel 2 years from now, and the market crashes 50%? You kept the money in the stock market. How much does that $100,000 remodel cost you 2 years from now? Mathematically, it's $200,000, right? But it's zero because you don't do it. You don't do the remodel. There's no way if the market crashes 50%, you're spending $100,000 for a remodel, right? Just reality. You have to understand how this is affecting your life because money can enhance your life if you don't make mistakes. If not, it's not going to enhance your life, okay? And long term, we use FDIC insured CDs. So if someone accumulates a lot of money in our plan over the next 5 years from now, we might use this type of plan. We will not set this up at the beginning because this is locked in for 7 years. People will tell you, never put your money in annuities locked up. We put people's money in annuities and we take income out within 30 days. So I just had a client, he's 62, retired from HP, had his money. We put money into these 3 buckets. We're taking income off of this within 30 days from when it was deposited. Is that pretty cool? Knowing that it's guaranteed for as long as he lives? Isn't that what he wanted? Because when you retire, what's the one thing you worry about mostly? How do you replace what? Your paycheck, right? You went, how do I replace my paycheck? I don't know how to do it. That's how we do it. And we then use the growth assets over here. We use professionally managed assets. We're going to use low-cost funds, low-cost management, and our whole goal is how do we help you reduce large losses? I'm never going to tell you, Jim will never tell you, we're going to get you the highest rate of return. We're going to tell you our first goal is to protect your assets against large losses, okay? So if we have these assets, that doesn't lose anything when the stock market crashes. That doesn't lose anything. This is going to lose a lot less than when the stock market crashes. So we're going to be able to position the assets in a very conservative manner. If you're aggressive, you get to manage the aggressive stuff, such as, let's say you have a bunch of rental real estate. We like rental real estate if what? If it's paid off. Is paid off real estate very risky? Is real estate with mortgages risky? Yeah, remember what happened in 2008? Paid off real estate is really, really a good asset. How many advisors tell you that? No one. What do they want you to do with your real estate that's paid off? Sell it and give them the money. We're going to say, let's use that paid off asset, if you like managing it or someone else manage it, as one of your income streams. Okay? It's a great asset. And then some clients will like to manage some of their stocks on their own. And all their advisors will say, oh no, you can't manage some of your own stocks. You can't pick them. You're not as good as we are. You're probably better at picking your stocks than your broker is. We're going to set you up a self-managed asset account. There's no fee. There's no loads. You pay whatever the trading cost is at the companies. We don't charge you anything to set that up, and that reduces your fees. Now, if I can protect and Jim can protect your assets here, can you now feel a little more aggressive in some of those assets? And do you worry about them as much? You don't, if we do it that way, okay? So why do we talk about this? Well, how does this particular plan work? We're going to cover the red and the green real quick. So the green, why do we do it? The reason we do the green is we want to give you principal protection for either you or your beneficiaries. Because some of you don't need the income yet, but you're worried about leaving a certain amount of money to your beneficiaries. Well, what if you leave your money in the stock market and the market crashes 50% and that's when you die because you have a heart attack? How much are you leaving to your beneficiaries? Half. Okay? You're leaving half because that's how you feel. You don't want to do that if you're worried about it, but more so for the income guaranteed for as long as you live. So let's look at the S&P 500.